drop it. Obviously, power panel. John Iadarola, Nomi Prins, Anna Kasparian. My name is Cenk Uygur. Nomi's last book is, I love the titles of your books, so that's why I love saying them. It's not to plug them, it's just because they sound so good. Collusion, How Central Bankers Rigged the World. Okay, that's how you write a title. Okay, for other titles, Other People's Money, The Corporate Mugging of America. Another one, It Takes a Pillage.
They're violent, aren't they? They're visceral, they're descriptive. Yeah, that's visual.
Yes, yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, today there's an amendment introduced, and it's kind of awesome. And I think it should go a little further, and I think it should challenge corporate personhood. So that's part of why I love your books, because like the number. It might now actually be the #1 myth on television and in Washington that Americans love big business, right? Like people are like, oh no, in West Virginia you're going to want to run a big business candidate. Why? Based on what polling, what evidence? Americans hate big business, hate them, and so I think that if you did an amendment to end corporate personhood, it would be shockingly popular, and of course it would be despised by the elite. And that's why it has
get their money from big business. That's the entire point. Big business is what makes individual votes more important, and also overrides them at the same time. That's the whole entire point. Their amassment of money and influence is the definite problem.
Yeah. Do you not think that would get a fair shake by CNN or MSNBC or Fox News, which are gigantic
run by big
corporations?
businesses?
Well, we're gonna in the show today we have a story of CNN anchor asking Ocasio-Cortez if she's a radical for one of her suggestions. We'll discuss whether that position is actually radical. A lot of just Democrats under fire today, but for all the wrong reasons. Rashida Tlaib attacked twice, Ocasio-Cortez attacked twice for civility and wrong dancing on two different issues, let alone substantive stuff. So we will counterattack.
There's only one person who should be criticized for wrong dancing. And that's you, Cenk.
Well, I know, she has the tape, she has receipts.
I'm just kidding, actually Cenk's a very fun dancer. So.
Yeah, you know, so we'll talk about it in the Ocasio-Cortez story. So we got a lot of fun stuff, including the shutdown, etc. Tons of stuff to get to, and including good news today. And so that doesn't happen often. So, but we have it today. So, and speaking of good news, I knew there was one last thing I want to tell you guys, and that's TYT Army, congrats. I'm gonna probably do a video about it over the weekend, but they got The Hill to correct an article. Running,
damn.
The Army operates independently, okay? I didn't even know they were doing that. And so that was wonderful. So if you wanna join that successful, awesome army, tyt.com/army. And thank you to everyone who sent love to Ocasio-Cortez, Tulsi Gabbard, and Ro Khanna for their no vote on PAYGO. And I was just out there talking to the aggressive progressive guys, and Malcolm made a hilarious point. He's like, yeah, you know, when I was phone banking to get voters out, I was like, now remember guys, we're gonna do PAYGO, okay? And they were like, oh yes, then I'm gonna go vote, right? And Jimmy was like, yeah, and we promise him it'll be the first thing we do. Like, no real voter wants PAYGO, not one. Anyway, okay, but we're on to good news.
Well, and good news on that really fast, that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has signed on, she's introducing legislation with Pramila Jayapal to get rid of it today.
Okay, so that's awesome. Jayapal now stepping up and immediately introducing legislation on Medicare for all. That's awesome. So there is plenty of great news today, and good just Democrats and progressives stepping up and doing the right things today. So, and thank you to all of you who I would argue put on the appropriate pressure to do that. It's our job to keep them accountable, no matter how much we like them or support them. In fact, more so because we liked and supported them. So thank you guys for doing that. Yes. All right, John, you got a lot of news, let's do it.
Okay, so much. We'll see what we can get to. New Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib has made Republican heads explode all over the country because of her calls for Donald Trump to be impeached. Not because she's asking for it, but because of the words that she used while asking for it, as you'll see in this clip.
And when your son looks at you and says, Mama, look, you won, bullies don't win. And I said, baby, they don't, because we're gonna go in there and we're gonna impeach the
dear God. But
My
seriously,
God.
that's the response. All over the place. We were watching a clip from Fox News, which we're gonna show you in a second. It just, the way people are talking about it, it's like, it's difficult to be more fake than usual on these news stations, but they're more fake than usual about this. They're acting like children in response to this swearing. So look, she also co-wrote an op-ed today in the Detroit Free Press describing exactly why she thinks he needs to be impeached. And we are going to have her detailed explanation in just a little bit. But Donald Trump, obviously the target of her ire there, was asked about this, and he gave one of the most, I mean, he's got to know what he's doing, but you'll see, it's ridiculous.
About the freshman congressperson's comments specifically about...
Well, I thought her comments were disgraceful. This is a person that I don't know. I assume she's new. I think she dishonored herself, and I think she dishonored her family. Using language like that in front of her son and whoever else was there, I thought that was a great dishonor to her and to her family. I thought it was highly disrespectful to the United States of America.
Yeah, it's much more honorable to your son to cheat on his mother while she's pregnant with him. Like,
oh yeah, that's a very honorable thing to do. Yeah. Let alone the fact that you've used the same exact words in front of your sons and the whole country and your family. I mean, no, John, I don't think he's aware. I just think he's in the moment and he thinks, I'm gonna attack her. And his hypocrisy has never been an issue for him. Mm-hmm. He's oblivious and indifferent to his lies and hypocrisy. So, like Trump's a madman, and we're gonna give you a clip here showing you maybe he might have used similar language or maybe the same exact language. But the rest of the media is what I cannot abide. Like them being shocked and chagrined, and now all of a sudden demanding decorum.
Yeah, exactly. I only wish in that video that Melania had been in the background listening to him speak. It would have been great to see her try to control her eye rolling. So let's go to a little bit of that media. So first here is a clip. I believe this is the Fox News one.
She used a profanity. She cursed out the president and called for his impeachment. I just wonder what this says about decorum in this new era of divided government and the new Congress.
Well, it shows you kind of what's on the mind of Democrats right now. They're into name calling. We even had one of the congressmen yesterday call the president Hitler. Now she's using obscene language to describe this president. Listen, if they want to come to Washington and engage in this type of nasty, ridiculous, outrageous rhetoric, instead of focusing on the issue at hand, that we have a crisis at our border, people in this country are dying, and those deaths are 100% preventable, then they're going to have a very difficult time in this town and with their constituencies.
Again, shocked and chagrined, but really, let's acknowledge that Rashida Tlaib has performed a public service, a very important one, because there are a lot of conservatives around the country who have criticized snowflakes for getting triggered, apparently never having experienced that emotion themselves. They're clearly experiencing it today.
Yeah, to be fair, the one thing I think Rashida Tlaib did wrong was she should have given a trigger warning. Because there was going to be a microaggression coming up to people who wear red hats.
That's right.
And so, but I love the anchor there, like that look of like, she's so concerned.
The fake concern, right?
Oh, about decorum.
What does this mean for decorum?
She's never used a bad word in her life. Right. Neither has Trump, neither has anybody on Fox or any other sort of station, but they kind of did what Trump did, which is that they just completely ignored the entire point of what she was saying. They ignored why he should be impeached, why impeachment proceedings should be incurred, and just went straight to the language, just went straight to the word, just totally deflected the entire concept, which is exactly what he did.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the mainstream media overall, not just Fox News, but first, let's give you the wonderful hypocrisy here. The White House person that you saw in that clip said, like, this is nasty. The Fox News host says, it violates decorum. Let's see if anybody else has ever violated decorum before.
Our country's going to hell. It's going to hell. What the hell are we doing? Knock the hell out of them. My tax proposal cuts the hell out of taxes. I don't give a damn. He gets the nomination, they're gonna sue his off. We'll beat the out of them. Let them beat the out of ISIS also. They're ripping the out of the sea. We're gonna knock the out of ISIS. Gonna knock the out of it. Whoever the hell brought this mic system, don't the son of a to put it in, I'll tell you. You shouldn't pay the bastard. But it's political bullshit. She said he's a and you can tell them to go themselves.
You're not going to raise that price. You understand? Listen, you
Look, look, we had to bleep all of it, but the last one that he used, I think you could tell which ones were which overall, but the last one he used was the same exact mother effer thing that Rashida Tlaib said. Same exact one! But to be fair, I remember when Fox News did the segment saying, we have violated decorum here.
Well, he uses less syllables. like she actually, I was just looking at the math on that. She kind of did, sort of 4 syllables in her decorum violation.
Decorum violation.
He kind of just uses one at a time. It's all, so maybe that's really the issue. It's the complexity issue.
So I just want to bring up, okay, so we see the hypocrisy, and for far too long, there's been this double standard when it comes to the behavior of those on the left versus the behavior of those on the right. The right wing gets to do and say whatever they want. In the era of Trump, no apologies, right? And it's worked out for them. And the left should have learned, and I think is finally starting to learn, a very valuable lesson. You don't buy into that narrative, you don't buy into that double standard. You speak the way that you feel comfortable and you don't apologize for it. And so I love what I'm seeing from the left right now. Decorum was thrown out the window a long time ago, right? If we had Republicans who were playing by the same rules, then I would say, yeah, okay, we want civility, we want to have a situation in which we work together, but we're not living in that world. There's no interest in collaborating, negotiating, working together. We're now dealing with 2 weeks of a partial government shutdown. And look, words matter, but I would argue that actions matter way more. I mean, you want to talk about decorum, let's talk about the intentional cruelty of the Trump administration and all the pain and suffering that they've inflicted on all these people, including children who were ripped away from their parents at the border. Please spare me your nonsense, fake concern about decorum.
Well, yeah, and in terms of actions, I mean, if you want to compare like to like with Congress people and how they should act, apparently we now know, saying mother effer, that violates decorum. Assaulting a reporter on the eve of your election doesn't violate decorum, apparently. If you're Duncan Hunter and you call your opponent a terrorist and then buy yourself shorts while saying, I'll pretend that we're sending them to the military. I'm gonna use campaign funds to buy myself shorts and say I'm giving them to vets, doesn't violate decorum. So again, very different standards there.
Yeah, well, to both of your points, first I'm gonna go to graphic 3 here. Rashida Tlaib with an awesome tweet. She said, I will always speak truth to power. Hashtag unapologetically me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how you do it, okay?
Yeah.
Don't let them bully you, and that was the whole point of her speech. That was a great move-on party that she was at, by the way. And then, but to the mainstream media, if you are reporting this as some sort of violation of civility or decorum without giving the context that Donald Trump has destroyed decorum and civility, you are a terrible reporter.
Yeah.
Because without that context, you've done a great disservice to the truth, which is that this decorum, if it existed at all, was shattered by Donald Trump. It no longer exists at all. So we do not accept an uneven playing field. We just don't accept it. By the way, I am principled on the issue of cursing, which is hilarious, but I never minded Trump's cursing. I think that the demands for civility by a lot of Washington elite is also has a second purpose, which is to protect the status quo. Hey, everybody take it easy, don't rock the boat, don't get too excited, let's keep the status quo going. So I didn't mind it when Trump did it, and we were honest and fair about that, and I certainly don't mind it when Rashida Tlaib does it.
Exactly, yeah, we don't mind, when he says, go into the audience and knock them the F out, we don't care about the F part, we care about the political violence part.
Exactly, the actual assaults are a problem.
Exactly, now, one other bit of context that it would be awesome if the media were to engage in, like if you want to do a full news cycle about Rashida Tlaib, if you want to dispatch all of your reporters around DC and follow her around and hound her on her first full day in Congress, you can do that, but how about ask her not just about the word she used, but about the case that she is making. So she says that we should impeach him, which is obviously, that's huge. A sitting congressperson says we should impeach a president. Maybe you should ask her why, okay? No, just the language? Okay, well, thankfully, she went around them and she published an op-ed in the Detroit Free Press, and here is some of what she made in terms of a case for impeaching him. We already have overwhelming evidence that the president has committed impeachable offenses, including, just to name a few, obstructing justice, violating the emoluments clause, abusing the pardon power, directing or seeking to direct law enforcement to prosecute political adversaries for improper purposes, advocating illegal violence and undermining equal protection of the laws, ordering the cruel and unconstitutional imprisonment of children and their families at the southern border, and conspiring to illegally influence the 2016 election through a series of hush money payments. I don't think any one of those things she's saying there is even really debated. I mean, in two different ways. I mean that there's no counter evidence and that people don't even talk about it generally. But she goes on to say, because many people, when they talk about the possibility of impeaching the president, they talk about it in relation to the special counsel's investigation. She mentions that, but that is not her prime concern. She says, whether the president was directly involved in a conspiracy with the Russian government to interfere with the 2016 election remains the subject of special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. But we do not need to wait on the outcome of that criminal investigation before moving forward with an inquiry in the US House of Representatives on whether the president has committed impeachable high crimes and misdemeanors against the state, abuse of power and abuse of the public trust.
And that's very true. That's true historically, and that's kind of the point that I was making in the beginning. It doesn't matter how you say, how you get to the fact that there needs to be an impeachment process started. There's a multitude of reasons for it, and I like the fact that she kind of didn't just focus on the Mueller investigation, which has been most of what is discussed when impeachment is even brought up on any of the networks on the left or the right in the middle. The fact that she delineated all of the reasons why ultimately he has abused the power of that office, and he has had conflicted issues of business and potentially political connections, not just with respect to what Mueller may or may not find, but with respect to his entire organization throughout when he was campaigning, when he got in, and until now. There's a lot to dig into.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and look, I understand the value of waiting for the Mueller report to go forward if you're going to go forward on impeachment, because you might have a number of different crimes you have to add to the docket for what to impeach him on. But if Mueller comes in with something that is not, that does not add to that list, first of all, that would be shocking, okay? But it's fine. I mean, if he says that he just didn't do it, then great, okay, no problem at all. But we already have a felony. I mean, and part of what Trump does is he floods the zone. He does so many things wrong, so many things potentially illegal, that you're like, wait, are we supposed to focus on the tax fraud or the fact that he's got the Saudis to move to his hotel and give him $250,000, or that he won't let the FBI headquarters move because it's across the street from his hotel, or the fact that he did campaign finance violations, etc. But to me, like the one right now that even without Mueller, you have a guy going to prison for 3 years, Michael Cohen, because of campaign finance violation that he coordinated with Donald Trump. So that is an absolute clear felony crime. Any other president, we wouldn't be having a conversation. We're having a weird, ironic conversation about whether to impeach Trump because of, like, he's committed so many possible crimes that should we keep waiting for other crimes to be unveiled before we go forward? Any other president, one crime, the one that Cohen's going to jail for, would be plenty that we would definitely be having impeachment conversations, especially if he was a Democrat.
It's a typical Trump strategy, right? And I don't think that it's an intentional strategy, but much like the news cycle, he floods the crime cycle with so much that you don't know what to focus on, right? There's just too much to focus on at one time. And I do think that there's value in waiting for the Mueller investigation. We talked about it, or the report from Mueller in this investigation. We talked about it on the show yesterday. But what Rashida Tlaib wrote in that op-ed really shows you, the difference between her perspectives on Trump and how to move forward versus how Pelosi wants to move forward. Because Pelosi wants to avoid any type of impeachment proceedings until the Mueller report comes out. And if the Mueller report is damning, I would assume Pelosi would want to go forward. But I love the fierceness that we're seeing from these freshman Democrats.
And I know there's obviously people who disagree with her now, have disagreed with the idea of impeachment now for the last 2 years, for I guess 2 different reasons. One is, well, how does it, if we were to impeach, how does that affect the 2020 election? Or, well, if you impeached him, then you get Mike Pence. Those are both political concerns, but she's not coming at it from a political point of view. She's coming at it from a substantive point of view. She says in her op-ed, and you should read the entire thing, the reason we have impeachment in the Constitution is to defend the country from a criminal president. And she lists all of the damage that she's done. And she says, I'm not gonna wait around for 2 years because maybe it'll help me in an election if I think that he is violating the law and it's hurting the American people. If you care about the actual substance of what he's doing, then in that case, if you believe he's committed a crime, you cannot wait around. You have a moral imperative to actually act.
So whenever we talk about something, we try to put the link in the description box below. So we'll put her op-ed so you can read it in the description box below if you're watching this later on YouTube or Facebook. So please check that out. I think it's important for you to get the whole substance. And John's absolutely right. I mean, politics, you wanna have that conversation, that's interesting, but we elected these people to be substantive. And she's saying we must act on the policy implications for the whole country. And it's, yes, there's important policy implications for Medicare for all, et cetera, but you also allowing a criminal president to be above the law is devastating for our democracy, so we must act.
And if you can, on Monday, I believe, actually, on the damage report, the co-author of that op-ed is going to be on my show, The Damage Report. I'll be interviewing about that, so tune in then.
And I just, again, the whole entire initial conflict of interest upon which he got, basically has skirted his entire presidency, whether it comes from the Mueller investigation or whether it comes from an outside source. It does need to be investigated. It's something that reporters have been talking about, that the analytical organizations have been talking about. He continues to have business interests throughout the world that we know not that much about the finances for, that are involved in countries for which he is also in charge of making policy.
Yeah.
That needs to be something that we care about and investigate.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. We actually have another Rashida Tlaib story for you guys, so I'll do that one. So Rashida Tlaib in the news a lot today. She got sworn in on Thomas Jefferson's version of the Quran. So Thomas Jefferson had his own version of the Bible, which is actually more controversial because he ripped out a whole bunch of pages he thought made no sense at all, and so it's called the Jefferson's Bible.
Why is that controversial? Religious people do that today all the time. They might not physically rip out the pages, but they don't mention the parts that are pretty terrible.
Yeah, that's certainly true. They're like, don't eat shrimp. Oh, we're gonna rip that part out, right? Hate gay people, keep that one in, keep that one in. But Jefferson largely kept the wonderful stuff about helping other people. Now, that's super relevant to the history of our country because Jefferson, obviously one of the founding fathers, and Madison wrote the Constitution, but he partly based it on something that Jefferson had written earlier, and so he did not believe that we should be a Christian nation, and he was very explicit about that. I mean, you don't get any more explicit than, I don't like these portions of the Bible, I'm gonna rip them out. Right. So, I mean, anything you hear from evangelical right-wingers telling you that the founding fathers wanted this to be a Christian nation is a total and utter lie. It's a preposterous lie. In fact, we're gonna prove it in the text of the Constitution in a second as well. So, and Jefferson also had a Quran, and Rashida Tlaib is not the first person to do this. Keith Ellison did the same thing. She's the first Muslim American woman in Congress, along with Ilhan Omar at the same time. But she's actually the third Muslim overall. Andre Carson and Keith Ellison were Muslim members of Congress, so it makes sense for her to get sworn in on a Quran. That's her religion. What else would she do? Of course, the right wing did not see it that way. So rage online, like America is vanishing. What do you mean it's vanishing? So you mean your power to dominate over others is vanishing? That part is true, and that's what sets you in a race. But there are so many of these tweets, and they're all hilarious and ridiculous, so I can't do all of them, but I'll give you a quick sampling because they're fun. Fed Up American, which is already an awesome handle, says there should be a law that you swear on a Christian Bible or not serve at all. You live in America, and our constitutional rules are a republic.
Wow.
Giving security clearance to non-believers of our republic lowers our security from hostile nations.
I don't think he's read the Constitution. No. Possibly not the Bible either.
Of course. Okay, so I'm gonna read you the Constitution because apparently right-wingers are stupid and have never read anything at all, especially the United States Constitution. He said, if she doesn't believe our republic, that she should not serve. And we must abide by the Constitution. That's what it means to believe our republic. That part I agree with. So here's the First Amendment. I know, might be hard to find, I don't know, it's complicated. Has anyone ever mentioned the First Amendment before? It is first, so let's read it for you guys. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So it couldn't be any clearer. If you love the American Constitution, you should never consider establishing a religion or favoring one religion over another. If you don't like the American Constitution and you believe in, hey, other forms of government like Iran has or Saudi Arabia has, where you say a religion should rule our government, well, great, then move to Iran or Saudi Arabia. But you're un-American. You're un-American. So understand, Rashida Tlaib is 1,000 times better American than you because she understands the country. So it's hilarious to say that you should swear on the Christian Bible or not be allowed to serve at all. That is the exact opposite of what the Constitution says. But these idiots aren't done. Captain Mike 26 says, our nation is doomed to become a liberal cesspool. Muslims, of course misspelled, are soon to take over.
Wow. I think that's intentional. The Muslims.
Yeah.
Muslims. Oh, so clever, so clever. But my favorite part is this. Yeah. Mainly they're accusing her of being racist against whites and Christians. She's Muslim. Is just her existence an offense to you? I mean, my God, how triggered are you, right? But look at that last line. White voters are generally stupid morons. But wait a minute.
Wait.
That's racist against white people. She didn't do the racist thing, you did.
Complex.
Okay.
That's complex.
Man, they are weirdos. Like, I can't believe how racist she is against whites, because whites are stupid morons. What? Okay, and I'm not done. R. Robach, about the Quran. It's the book of Satan and should not be allowed in the United States. Wow. They all should be gathered up and burned. Wait, what does Satan do? Oh, he gathers up people and burns them. Oops. I mean, not two brain cells between them, between all these different tweeters on the right wing. And what's amazing is they write that down and they don't realize how stupid it is.
No, and the anger behind it. It's stupid, it's unaware, it's ignorant, it doesn't utilize Google, and it's angry. And that's the issue.
Yeah, and what were all of these nonstop debates regarding religious liberty about, right? Where when the debate came about regarding whether or not a baker should bake a cake for a gay couple. The argument was we have religious liberty. The argument coming from Republicans, from the right wing in America was we live in America, we have constitutional protections for religion, right? For whatever religion you practice. And so we need to support and protect religious liberty. But I get it, like in their minds, religious liberty is only extended to one specific religion and that's it.
No, but that's such a great point, Anna, because you're gonna make me bake a cake. You're gonna make me bake a cake, right? Well, in your ideal world, you would make her swear on a religious text that she doesn't believe in. I mean, you want to talk about a religious violation, it doesn't get any more significant than that. That's not a cake, that's your religious text. Now, to be fair and more comprehensive, Muslims do believe in the Bible. They believe that the Quran is the third book, the Old Testament, New Testament, and the Quran. But still, the Quran is the final version in their vision of this. And so, of course, making them just swear on something else doesn't make any sense at all. And then finally, not about Rashida Tlaib, Kyrsten Sinema, she got sworn in as well. She is a corporate Democrat. I got no love for her. I generally don't like her policies. She votes with Trump far too much, but I have to give her huge credit here. I mean, it's just a matter of her existence in a sense, but something she chose to do symbolically as well that I loved. She is openly bisexual and openly atheist. So the part that I love most is she swore on a law book. Instead of any religious text.
I do like that.
And that's awesome, okay?
Yeah, we did Harry Potter.
And my other favorite thing is, Harry Potter's funny, is that the person swearing in the senators is Mike Pence.
Damn.
So good.
Was his wife there?
Right.
Well, there was another woman in the room. I hope the wife was there. Right. If mother's not there, I don't know what he's doing.
Can I point out one other thing? Because you've been attacking the right wing a lot, and I feel for them a little bit, so I want to reassure them. Anytime you feel concerned about what book someone is swearing on, reassure yourself in the knowledge that swearing on a book doesn't do anything. It doesn't mean anything. You can use I can do it on this paper. Now look, if you care about a particular text, use the text you care about, fine. If we're gonna make people put their hand on a piece of literature, then you do whichever one you want. but it doesn't mean anything at all. There's no magic in it. There's no sorting hat. This is the real world.
Yeah.
And the republic is about the land of the free. And it just goes back to the fact that anyone who actually believes in that believes that you can swear on any piece of literature you want, like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is, could be a thing.
Yeah. All right, so, and look guys, our job is to deliver the truth to the best of our abilities to do so. And so you always gotta give credit where credit is due. Just because you disagree with someone about one thing doesn't mean you disagree with them about everything. So that's partly why I'm giving Sinema credit here, because I love that she swore in on a law book, even if I don't like her other policies. And the fact that she had to have Pence, or Pence was forced to swear in a bisexual when he's a known homophobe. And he's a right-wing evangelical Christian, and he had to swear her in on a law book instead of the Bible. Oh, you know what I call that? America. All right, let's take a quick break here. We've gotten pretty long, of course, but we have so much more. The attacks against Ocasio-Cortez are hilarious. Just when you think they can't outdo themselves, they did it. And then substance from her, which brings out more attacks, but we're gonna defend the substance, which is wonderful. All of that when we return. We hope you're enjoying this free clip from the Young Turks. If you wanna get the whole show and more exclusive content while supporting independent media, become a member at tyt.com/join today. In the meantime, enjoy this free segment. All right, back on the Young Turks, a couple of member comments for you guys. Chris Durant says, why are the right-wing snowflakes getting so upset about Tlaib's comments? I thought they like straight shooters who tell it like it is. Right.
She's just counterpunching.
Yeah, John just read me a tweet from Rick Wilson, who's actually a Republican strategist who's against Donald Trump. And he said, what happened to the F your feelings crowd? Right? So they don't seem so tough anymore. Chris Trevino with a really interesting point. Even John Adams, who in many ways is the father of the US evangelicalism movement, was against establishing or connecting the US with religion, because it also damages religion, by the way. That's another reason not to do it. And finally, my favorite comment, Cloyd, you knocked this out of the park. Trump should have been sworn in on a coloring book.
I picked the best coloring book. I know how to color inside the lines better than anyone else.
Ever.
Look, you know what? We're gonna go old school on this one. I know it's a real pain in the ass for our crew, but we got to get Cloyd a t-shirt. I mean, when everyone on the panel LOLs, okay? Awesome. So Cloyd, we'll find you a way to get you a t-shirt. Shop tyt.com, you pick the one you like. All right, John, what's next?
That was good. Okay, now let's have a little bit of fun. The right's newest plan to destroy Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has failed in epic fashion. Here is the video that they honestly thought would do her in. So we unfortunately can't play the audio because it is an actual song. We'll try to get her to do these sorts of promotional dances to public use music in the future. But there, you're seeing this is back in 2010, I believe, or at least it was posted by BU in 2010.
Right.
It's they're doing the Breakfast Club dance and having fun and enjoying youth.
How dare they?
So they must be destroyed.
How dare she?
Yeah, how dare she?
So this was spread by a Twitter account called, and to give you an idea of how serious this person is politically, Anonymous Q.
Lots of credibility there.
Got the Q there. It's probably random Q. Doesn't have anything to do with anything. Saying, when they spread this, here is America's favorite commie know-it-all acting like the clueless nitwit she is. The response was such that that person deleted their Twitter account.
Okay.
And as I pointed out on the Damage Report this morning, it takes a lot to shame a Q believer on their beliefs enough that they flee the internet.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, just know nothing. From high school. It was from college.
Yeah, it says BU.
I know, it says Boston University right there on the shirt,
College.
right? And she wasn't the only one doing it. She didn't do it now. She did it in college. So the accusation, and so it's not just this one guy. Then of course the right wing went all in, and they were all like, aha! We got her, ladies and gentlemen. She's dancing when that's clearly not allowed. Okay, what is this, Footloose? Right? They're like, the Republican Party has become like the villains in Footloose. Do not let anyone dance.
No.
By the way, the other country that does not allow dancing, I believe, I'm not positive, is Saudi Arabia.
No, I mean, they strike me as the religious police, right? Going around, making sure that people have their beards, making sure that people don't have any fun. I mean, isn't that very similar, a similar take on a super innocent video of a college student dancing. Are we outlawing dancing in America now?
Yeah.
Land of the free, guys.
And by the way, so look, this actually fits in comedically into a trend in their attempts to take down, I would say, whether you like their policies or not, charismatic politicians. So this is what they have on AOC. With Beto, they pointed out that he skateboards and he was in a rock band. And with Obama back in the day, they had that photo of him smoking what might have been marijuana, might have just been a cigarette. That's cooler than any photo I've ever been in my life. And they think these are how they destroy people, by making them super relatable and attractive.
But really, I mean, who are you guys? I mean, do you think that it's like when she was in college, she should not have danced? I mean, when Donald Trump got out of college, he ran out of Vietnam and had a fake doctor's note and let other kids die for him. That's okay, that's okay. But did he ever dance? I mean, what kind of weirdos are they? I mean, if you tried to find a way to turn off the American people more, you couldn't do it. So thank you.
So go ahead.
No, but because the level beneath that is like they don't understand voters just at all, because voters clearly don't dance. And so if you can detach them from Alexandria, then you somehow, I don't know, get your person back in Congress. Yeah. It's weird.
So I feel like there are certain politicians who can't win regardless of how they act, what they do, what their past is. And when I say certain politicians, I mostly mean women, okay? Women, if they present themselves as too serious, they don't go out of their way to have fun, or if they do have fun, they try to conceal it. They're considered, oh, she's too stern, she seems like a bitch. Like you hear that over and over again. I mean, look, Hillary Clinton was a very flawed politician. I had lots of issues with her on a policy standpoint, but a lot of the criticism that she got had to do with the fact that she seemed like she wouldn't let loose. She seemed like she was too, buttoned up or whatever. Whereas with AOC, she's young. She made history as an incredibly young woman who got voted into Congress, and she was in college not too long ago as a result of that. Yeah. And so, yeah, she danced in a video. It's not that big of a deal. And here's the thing. So there's that double standard when it comes to women in general. But I also noticed that there's a little bit of a double standard when it comes to the Republican Party. So look, I hate when anyone goes after Melania Trump for her past modeling career, right? She was a model, plain and simple. Who cares? Don't shame her for that. If you're on the left, please avoid doing that. I hate it. But for the right wing, you're gonna go after AOC for being fully clothed and dancing, but you're gonna give a pass to the president's wife who did a lesbian semi-nude photo shoot?
No, I mean, look, and we didn't even get the lesbian pictures, but now imagine, and this is not against Melania, it's against the people attacking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Imagine if she had pictures like that.
No, it'd be over.
Imagine if she had pictures like that.
But it's that double standard, which is why I like what the response was from Alexandria. She basically did an entire new dance video in the halls of Congress. Yeah. And I thought that was the awesome own it response, and that's why she was elected. And those are the kind of people we need in Congress. And you know what? It doesn't actually matter if they're from the left or the right. It's the people that actually own their past, own their connection to voters, and are taking it into the halls of Congress. Exactly. And not apologizing. That woman is not apologizing, and that is cool.
Oh God, oh God! It doesn't get any better than her doing that dance in front of the plaque of her name.
So awesome.
To taunt the
and the American
losers.
flag. Home of the free, American flag.
Oh,
right
and by the way, we can't play the music, but the song is War, What Is It Good For? Absolutely Nothing, right. Which I don't think was just randomly selected. I love that is the song. There goes my pen. That is the song she chose to dance to. A nice little added thing for leftists there.
I think you guys are absolutely right about how the American voter is reacting to this. They're basically, I think, saying, if you can't dance, well, then you're no friend of mine. That wasn't even quite right. That wasn't even the right quote.
Anyway, but like we're having fun and we're laughing and everything, but understand that the reason they spread it, the reason why, not just the first guy spread it, but like people like Stacey Dash were like, well. They actually thought they had something is because they are, we know, we've talked about this 100 times, they're terrified of her positions because they're so popular. That is why Hannity had one of the most ridiculous own goals of himself when he put up her platform and people around the country are like, That looks good for the left, actually.
Wait. Universal free healthcare?
Exactly. What they need to do is convince you that she's crazy. And that is why they will only show carefully selected video screenshots of her with her eyes wide. And that is why they're showing her dancing, because they see that and they don't see youth. They see, oh, she's out of control. We gotta convince people that she's crazy.
Did Claire McCaskill retweet any of this?
I don't think so. However, I will say, I mean, like, so someone put it on Twitter that normally the Gap needs to spend millions of dollars to get an ad like that. Like, she's gonna do the dance on Ellen any day now. Right. Like, people are gonna be doing this dance. Other politicians are gonna be digging through their archives to find stuff like this, you fools.
By the way, one last thing. You know that Donald Trump also danced, but he danced with the Saudis. So you did not complain when he danced with people who, even before Jamal Khashoggi, on a regular basis behead people, right? Let alone all the disastrous wars and let alone all the times they've attacked us, right? And funded the people who attacked us. So dancing with them is cool, but dancing when you're in college and having fun, not cool. The hypocrisy of the right wing knows no bounds.
Trump's real good at the Dumbo Mambo.
We should probably take our last break.
Oh, okay. All right. God, we have so many other stories. Oh, okay. And good news coming up. All right, come right back.